Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Chris Gastright. Thank you for joining me. Happy Tuesday. No, it's today. Happy Wednesday. I forgot I was off yesterday and Monday. All right. How's it going with you? You guys getting bad weather last night slash this morning? I was up all night because of it, or till like I guess between 2:30 and 3 o'clock because there was like chances of tornadoes here and stuff. And I live on the third floor in an apartment, me and Brody. So I was like, I want to make sure we're okay. So made sure I stayed up for a while to, yeah, to make sure we're all right. Because you don't mess around with tornado stuff ever. But luckily, everything was fine. But today, winter returned. It is cold out there. What'd you do? Eat something that didn't agree with you? I've been tired all day. Beans. I love beans. My son doesn't love beans, and I'm sad about it because I like beans a lot. Um, I could eat beans and rice a lot, like for my meals. Um, and our local Frisch's has that all Frisch's in the Cincinnati area has that chili. It's so good. It has beans in it, but yeah, I love beans. I'd buy bags of beans fresh and just make them because there's less sodium when you make them yourself, I believe, than rather than in the bags or in the cans that you get, unless you get low sodium. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about a couple things today. I don't know if I'm in the game or not about it, but I want to talk about burnout in disc golf, and then this whole Wendy's debacle because I tweeted about it because I like Wendy's a lot. And this whole thing with this dynamic pricing they're doing, or they were talking about, they actually walked it back today. So, and they said, "Oh, we didn't say something like that." Well, there's proof. But we will talk about that later. But I wanted to talk about burnout in disc golf or burnout in general, especially when you're doing a job. And even if the job is something you love, the burnout is real. And and since I talk about disc golf, I want to talk about Brody Smith uh, because you could tell he hasn't been himself. I watched him in his practice rounds and just watched him in general, and I don't know if the burnout. I mean, he talked a little bit about it on the podcast last night, and I'm going to play some of that for you and interject my own personal stuff into it because I have experienced it. As you may or may not know or have known, I used to work in television. I worked there for 12 years. I loved doing what I did. I got to create stuff, worked with a lot of technology, stuff that I would never ever have a chance anywhere else to touch. And there's a point where not, I wasn't home a lot with my son, and it's just me and him. And that wore on me a whole lot because I felt like I wasn't there for him. I wanted to be there for more. But how my job was, my work schedule was Friday through Tuesday. Friday, Monday, Tuesday, my schedule is supposed to be 10:30 to 6:30, 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then Saturday, Sunday, 4 to midnight. And and working at a television station, they would uh, we didn't have enough people working because money, right? The company wants to make sure they turn a big profit, whatever, and they want to run on as little working with as have as little people working as possible, and to churn out the product. And how it kept on going was with how much I knew I could direct. I built stuff. I could work in the operations center. I was a production supervisor. I worked in so many different departments. I was one of the first people that was called. And I wanted to be that person to my own detriment because I've always been of the mindset if I can do it and I can make somebody else's life easier, I will take it on. And that wore on me mentally and physically, but mainly mentally because I was starting to get more resentful because I was missing time with my son. Like if there's bad weather, I had to be at work for the bad weather and I couldn't be home for my son. I'd have to ask my family to come pick him up or whatever and pray that he was safe. I couldn't protect him. So that was like, I do that and I'd have to come in like I told you, I worked 4 to midnight Saturday, Sunday. That'd do like 10:30 to 6:30 Monday morning. Somebody would call in sick or they needed me to work. I'd work 3:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. on Tuesdays sometimes. And that was just a lot mentally and physically on the body. So last July, I I hit my breaking point and I quit. I put my 2 weeks in and then I quit. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because I have a perspective on I missed out. Again, it was on me, but I missed out on a lot of holidays, holiday functions, family get togethers, whatnot. Um, but the main part was it wasn't missing time with my family, I was missing time with my son doing those family functions. I wasn't there for him, I wasn't there with him. And I'm talking about this because Brody Smith, he's he's been married for 5 years and he's on the tour and he's missing time with his wife. She's a dancer for the Raiders, or cheerleader. I don't know what they call them. I think cheerleader. And you could tell it's wearing on him because the disc golf season is long. It's February through October, November. And that's a long time to be like every other week, not with your family. And so I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to show some stuff from the podcast. I will stop and I will put my own thoughts into it as we go. But I just think this is very important. Brody Smith is a very polarizing figure. You go on Twitter, you'll see people just hating on him or loving him. Um, I'm a guy I enjoy him. I enjoy watching what he does. He got in the game late, and he made me think there's a possibility for me, as old as I am, to have a chance to do something like that. So I'm very thankful for him being in that space. And I'm like, that's awesome. I should try it, right? So that's why I want to talk about this. And I hope for nothing but the best for him. And all right, let's let's see. I'm gonna check something. That should be good. All right. Let's play this first part.
Yeah. So I'm in a little bit of a different. First off, I thought I was 37 years old. I'm actually, wait, I think I was 38 and I'm 37, or did I think I was 37 and I'm 36? Hold on. Let me do the math real quick.
That happens to me a lot. I don't know my own age a lot of times. I have to think of how old my son is and add 30. So I get where he's coming on this.
No, yeah. I thought I was 37. I'm 36. I'm turning 37 this year. So that's the first thing.
That's awesome, though. You are younger than you thought.
There may be a chance I might be having a midlife crisis. I'm having my first ever midlife crisis, and let me kind of explain. So this happened.
The whole midlife crisis, I don't think I ever had one. Maybe my midlife crisis was just not being home with Brody. So, but I digress. We'll keep on.
Happened at some point. I can't really like put my finger on when last season, but at some point last season, it really felt like I was just kind of going through the motions. And like I was going to practice because like that was a part of the routine. I was going to play tournaments because I have to go and try to get points to make it to the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. It started feeling like I was just doing stuff because I had to. And that was like a major shift. And I was thinking maybe it was like, okay, maybe I'm just feeling this way because it has been a long season. You have played a lot of tournaments, and like it's just kind of getting that monotonous over and over. And this off season, I really spent this off season spending time with Kelsey, spending time with my like family, and going on trips and doing all that. And there wasn't that same fire, energy, passion that I had in previous years of like waking up and being like, I want to go putt, or I want to go to the field and practice, or I want to go to this course and see if I can beat my score. Or later in the night, after I've already practiced, a couple hours that day, later in the night being like, I'm going to go out and putt for an hour.
I think I had the same thing going in. I was dreading going into my job, even though like I loved the people I work with. They were family to me. Some of them are still very close family. I still talk to some, not as much as I should because I'm horrible about that a lot of times. But I was having that. It's like anxiety is going into work, even though working in television news, it was. We did the same thing, right? It was the same thing, but it's different. We put news on every day, but the news was different. I love you too, brother. And it wasn't that the job was boring. It was just I hit that point. I hit that wall. So I am too, and I appreciate you every day of my life. I really do, and I don't say it enough. And I'm sorry for that. But I'm just glad this came out last night. It was just, to me, it's something to be able to talk about and hit on because it does happen, and people don't understand it because it's like, well, you're not working. Like I used to work in a machine shop. It's not like a machine shop job or um, construction or working in retail, whatever. Our job was different. Like his job is different. So it was very mental. Like we were surrounded by death all the time, talking about deaths and shootings and stuff like that. So our job was different, but it just wore on you. So I'm gonna keep on playing this.
Like that wasn't there, and it was something I was trying to figure out. And then maybe I was like, okay, maybe if I just don't do anything, maybe that hunger, that fire will come back. And it didn't. It 100% did not. This tournament was quite frankly, it was very boring.
Yeah.
And I'm at a portion in my life, and I got to this portion I would say fairly quickly, of where there was a year or two after college of where like I sat down and I was like, I have to freaking grind, and I'm making no money, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel. But then once I got to that point, I continued to work hard, but it didn't feel like work because I loved what I was doing. I loved going and filming 6 to 8 hours doing these trick shot videos. I loved going and playing in these tournaments. I loved going and running track workouts with my team. Everything with Ultimate, I never once in my Ultimate career felt unpassionate, not wanting to practice, not wanting to go to a tournament. Yeah, sure. Sometimes waking up early and doing a track workout, or waking up early and going to the gym. Yeah, sometimes I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I didn't want to do this. But then it always would snap out and be like, I have that goal, I have that team, I want to go. And every time going into a tournament, I was always looking forward to it.
That's the same the same thing how it was in news. Um, some days, I mean, you woke up, you're like, but when you got there, things are okay, you know. We just because we all had that common goal, the common bond of trying to do the best we can to put out the correct information and look good and just push each other to be better. So that was our thing.
Always excited to competing. This was the first time that I could not care less. I couldn't care less. And it was so hard. It was so difficult going out there, and it didn't matter if I shot 10 under par or if I shot 10 over par. It didn't matter if I birdied a hole, I didn't birdie a hole. I legitimately just was not interested. I wasn't.
So I'm gonna mute that audio real quick. So I had a thing also to where, like I'd be on vacation, whatnot, and I'd get calls about stuff at work. And mind you, I'm not a salaried employee. I was just a hourly person grinding, and my thing hit. I was sitting here on vacation. Think I don't know. Brody was doing something, and I got a phone call asking about an issue, something that people should have known what to do, and I had to talk them through it, and just all of a sudden something snapped in my brain, like not anger. It's just like, how long do I even want to continue doing this anymore? And so after that, I sat down and I was figuring things out, and I talked to my son, saying because he had the saying what I was doing too because it affected his life, and I sat on it thinking it for a while. I didn't tell anybody else what was going on in my head, but I don't know. I'm equating my own personal anecdotes into this because I I truly felt this. Listen to this. Oh,
At the end of
let
the
me
day, I
let me
always want
unpause.
to
Let
do
me
something that I
unmute
was
that. Let me
passionate
mute.
about. And
Yeah,
Barham got one of his
sorry about
discs
that.
to a
I just
tournament. I
realized
was
that.
always looking forward to it. I was
There we go.
always excited to competing. This was the first time
I muted it for a commercial and I forgot to unmute it. Television. My television life right there.
that I could not care less. I couldn't care less. And it was so hard. It was so difficult going out there, and it didn't matter if I shot 10 under par or if I shot 10 over par. It didn't matter if I birdied a hole, I didn't birdie a hole. I legitimately just was not interested. I wasn't having fun. And I mean, I wrote on here that my favorite moment playing those 3 rounds was on hole 15. Tim Barham got one of his discs stuck in a tree, and I had to we started picking up rocks and trying to hit the disc out of the tree to get it to come down. That was the most fun I had the entire week, was trying to hit this disc out of this tree. And so like I'm in this weird spot where I have never chased money, right? I've never made decisions in my life to try to make more money, because at the end of the day, I always wanted to do something that I was passionate about. And if I put my time and effort into something that I'm super passionate about, I will be successful in that. I will work myself in a way to become successful in that.
I was the same way in television. I That's why I always took stuff on my own shoulder. I wanted to be the best. Um, Not saying I was better than people. I wanted to be the best that I could be, and I wanted to be the man everybody could count on. And sometimes that's, I guess, a double edged sword because you go there, you work hard, you give it your all, you give it more than your all, and then it just I guess you keep on doing something like that. You hit the point, right? All right, take it easy. I appreciate you for getting on and watching. I'll do my best to keep up the good work. I'm trying to get better at my work. Um, it's nothing. I'm not like it's nothing that I'd sit up and think late at night. I'm trying to give my own perspective as from something I watched last night because this is it really hit me. It didn't hit me, but it's like it's something I could relate to. You know what I mean? So, all right.
And I think if you look at disc golf, I feel like I have done that already, right? I have seen some success, not as much as I wanted, obviously, but I have seen some success at tournaments. We have a very successful podcast. Foundation is extremely successful. Atlas is extremely successful. So there's parts of disc golf that I have found success in. I'm trying to figure out what is going on because I honestly don't have an answer. I don't know what to do. And it's a weird one because I've never had this issue before. I've never had an issue of where I haven't been dedicated, motivated, passionate to chase after a goal. And so it was a weird tournament. And I don't know if people could sense that when they're out there watching me, but you know, I ended up birdieing like hole 1 on round 2 and round 3. And it was just like, you know, I would just pick the disc out of the basket and like start walking to hole 2. It was almost.
And I could see that. Him and Ezra, they posted their practice round late. He's saying it was because of internet issues and whatnot, or bad Wi-Fi down there. Which I get. Like, heck, I'm sitting in my apartment. And I had internet issues earlier. I had to reboot my computer before I went live. I worked in television, and we go out to some of those. We go out to some locations, or we send reporters and photogs out to locations, and they use what they would call like a TVU pack. And TVU pack is basically cell phone cards sending audio and video signal back, but like stronger than I guess regular cell phone, and so we could it uses more bandwidth and whatnot to get back. And we could at the station you could adjust certain settings to try to get the signal stronger. We could work on delay or whatever, but we can make sure we get a good signal back. So, but I was just saying that's why they had their video go out late because of internet or internet Wi-Fi issues. But when I was watching the practice round, it wasn't the same energy that I saw last year. And Ezra, he had issues last year because he wasn't having good rounds or whatnot, or good matches or good tournaments. I know Paul Yulberry, he had issues with some tournaments also. He was having issues, but I guess it's something that everybody goes through. You do something long enough, you will have um, like fatigue for doing what you do. And these guys, like anybody else in the public eye, people at home can do it better. They have less issues, probably more handsome than us. They have answers for everything, telling us how to do things, but they are generally better at stuff that athletes do, or people on TV do, or people who entertain. So people they So you get more hate when you're in the public eye, or you get more criticisms when you're in the public eye. People saying, I don't mean this to sound negative, but that holding the butt thing goes in there. Like, I worked with a guy who somebody didn't like that he wore a themed suit for Christmas. Who cares? It's Christmas. You know, but or people didn't like the lipstick that an anchor wore, or her dress, or her hair, and they'd give him comments on, oh, you should do this to make yourself look better. So when you're in the public eye, you got the scrutiny of a lot of people, and that where if you're not performing well, whatever, and even though you say it doesn't bother you, I think it does bother you because I see it. I've seen it. People will they'll laugh it off, joke about it, but it's still in your head because you're human. All right, let's keep on moving.
If I was just ready for it to be done. And the thing that's the weird, and I can't figure it out, is like, this has never happened before. I've never had this happen before with anything. Normally it's always like some sort of injury, something is causing me not to continue to follow my passion. Like, something is prohibiting me from doing that. And I don't know if I'm at the age now of where like leaving Kelsey all the time is tough or what, but like I legitimately just did not enjoy playing disc golf this past weekend. And it was a tough realization to have.
And that thing, he leaving his wife all the time. Like I said earlier, I had issues where I wouldn't be home with my son. I'd have to get people to make sure he was fed. I mean, he's a junior in high school this year, sophomore last year. He could done a lot of this stuff himself, but it's a point that you're just not there with the person you love, right? And that wears on you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a classic case of burnout to me, honestly. I mean, it's pretty simple. We've all had those things. Like, I've been playing for 17 years now, Brody, and I've had months and months and months of feeling that way of like, why am I here? I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of going through the motions. But what it comes down to for me, and I can only speak for myself, is I've always had goals that I want to reach, and those goals come before everything for me, right? Like, it doesn't matter if I set a goal, and I was taught this a long time ago. If I set an ultimate goal, then that's just what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to stop until I get that ultimate goal. That's the way that I work. Through that time, you're going to have burnout because waking up and practicing and all that stuff it sucks. Like you said, sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes it's great to get up and,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that stuff. For me, what I found is the days where you don't want to do it, finding a way to get it done, once you reach some of those goals, makes it feel a lot better. So the burnout happens, and sometimes it's good to take a break. Dude, I've taken multiple times in my career, I've taken 3-4 months off of the main tour events and just been like, okay, I'm not going to California. I don't feel it. I can't do it.
See, that's why I
And
thought I did this off season though.
see, the off
I
season,
probably played disc golf. I probably threw or putted disc golf for less than like 8 hours this off season.
that's not the same thing, Brody. What I'm saying is, you take time off of playing tournaments and you watch other people playing the tournaments, it'll get you back to being motivated. You're going to see them playing, you're going to watch them competing, and you're going to either want to go back or you're not.
I love that. Yeah, because you take time away in the off season, you're resting your body, you're resting your mind, you're recharging your batteries, you're spending time with those that you love, and people you want to be around. But tournament time, it's so different. I will equate it. It's the same thing as news. I don't want to equate it the same, but in new, don't my the only thing I can equate it to in news, like I worked 8-hour days, right? But we were live like from 11:59 a.m. till we'll say 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. for the noon news. Then we went live at 4 o'clock, and we were on air till 6:30. So that's the times we worked probably the hardest, right? You had to be most on your game. You had to be the most intense focus was at those points. It wasn't the full 8 hours you had to be on, unless you're just building stuff or preparing stuff for the news, doing interviews or whatnot, or fixing stuff that's broken. But when I left in July and I got away, that was like the mental, like I felt like I was free, even though I missed the crap out doing what I did. I miss seeing the people. I miss working with the technology, and the camaraderie that you build around people who only have shared experiences with you, or that you have shared experiences with them, doing something that people want to be in, but not everybody can do. But that break from it did a lot of wonders. So,
And once you don't want to go compete against those guys, when you see them out there and you see the courses that you've played good at before and you're sitting at home, eventually you're going to be like, no, I missed the competition. I want to do that. Or you find something else. Like that's
Yeah,
always a thing as well.
Yeah, David just made a comment, and I think this is where if you have followed me from the very beginning, if you have followed me from my ultimate career, my trick shots, if you follow me from the very
The straight stick. I wrap it around.
commercials. Why they gotta make money?
you will know that I literally do stuff because I love doing it. And David just said, sounds like it's turned into a job and not a passion anymore. I have put so much work into my passions, and I have honestly, because I think there is a lot of luck to be involved, right? The fact that I had a connection with Dude Perfect and I was able to do a video with them early on definitely helped. That's not something that everyone has the ability. I was just in the right time at the right place. We went to the same church. Things kind of just fell in place for certain things. And then I also obviously worked hard at it. But that is something that I'm in a position right now where like I don't need to have a job.
Yeah.
I can just be done. Me and Kelsey can just delete all our social media, and just no one will see us ever again, and we can just be done and we're fine. And so the money, the financial, that side that I think really motivates a lot of people and drives a lot of people, makes them kind of get up in the morning and they don't want to go to their job, but they have to.
See,
That's what I think is making this really hard, because he said, sounds like it's turned into a job and it's not a passion anymore. And I have just always followed my passion, regardless of whether it was leading to money or not. I have always followed my passion. I was making no money when I first started doing YouTube, right? And I didn't know if there was going to be any money in it. But I was just making videos about how to throw a frisbee and throwing frisbees in the trash cans because I absolutely love doing it. And right now,
I love that just because it was a passion. And that's the thing. There's always the fear of trying to do something as that you're passionate about, and you make money off of it, and eventually it does become a job. I don't know how many other people out there have experienced something like that, but it's always that fear. You have a passion about something. I see it with streamers, gamers, whatnot, YouTubers. YouTubers, a lot of the old ones, they got into it not because it could make them money. They got into it because they just liked making content. They liked hanging with their friends, making content, playing games, and I think that passion, people saw, they gravitated toward it, and it became a career. And then sometimes that career just causes the burnout. You see it with like with Matt Pat stepping back, or other, I can't remember names of other people stepping back from YouTube that have been in the game for a long time. You see streamers, a streamer, if you don't stream every day for at least 3 or 4 hours, whatever, and you take some time off, you lose subscribers. When you lose subscribers, you lose that income. I mean, other jobs where you take a vacation, you come back and you don't have people around anymore that want your services. It's like Ludwig. He took off. He went on a ski trip, whatever. Had an appendectomy, and so he was off from streaming for like a week or 2 weeks, whatever. And he came back and he didn't have enough, or he lost subscribers, and he had to do a big subathon to be able to get enough people back. Charlie White, Moist Critical, he said he took a break and he came back and he lost thousands of viewers, thousands of followers, subscribers, and he never got them back. That's always the fear when you're doing something as a passion or fun and it becomes a career, and in that job / career, you get burnt out sometimes.
I love doing this podcast. I love working with Hunter with Foundation. I still love aspects of disc golf, but the competitive side, I don't know what it is. I just was not fired up to play, and clearly that showed.
Silas, I lost him.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Do you still want to win? Is there still a goal? Like you've always.
Thing.
That's
the crazy thing. If I would have won this weekend, I don't think anything changes. Like there was moments in time of. Again. Is it me, Silas, or is it Yuli's internet? Oh, really? Yuli, your internet might be going in and out a little bit over there.
I can hear you now.
You got me? Yeah. Silas says he hasn't. Silas says he hasn't lost me yet.
Okay, so it's me. That's fine.
It might just be your internet. All right. Yeah, so there were moments of where I played good and I was 1 under, 2 under through portions. And it wasn't like my mood changed. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then when I played poorly, I was like, oh, this isn't fun. I wasn't interested in.
I think that's important too. It's not tied to winning and losing, which is I think that's, if it was tied to winning and losing, it means just that I don't want to say anything negative, but you don't want to be burned out because you're just losing. Like Yuli said, he got burned out. He had to take some time off or whatnot, and he was having rough points last year. Like he was down, not even in contention on a lot of stuff. But it's just, that was the most positive thing I heard from that was it wasn't tied to winning and losing. If he had the same feeling whether he was playing well or playing bad.
And so that's why I don't, and that's the thing that's the bothersome is old Brody after a performance like this would come back to Dallas and be like, I need a freaking grind and I'm going to go out and get a top 10 in Waco. That's just not the case anymore, man. And I'm wondering, did you lose me again? Did we lose you, Lee? Oh. And this is a big one because I was talking to shout out to both my caddies too, because they were great to talk to because we were kind of having these conversations because they were both roughly my age. So we were kind of having these conversations while we were playing because they both were like, yeah, man, I can totally see like you're just not in it. And the thing is like the competitive side and the winning, like that has to be there. You have to have that goal and drive to want to actually win, to want to actually compete. And the question that I have is, was disc golf just fun and enjoyable because it was new? That is the concern, or that's a question that I'm having right now. Did I really just like disc golf a whole lot because I wasn't good at it? I didn't know how to throw these discs. I didn't know what these discs were. And was that like the fun part? Like, was it the newness of it was what it was fun? And then once I kind of figured all that out, I realized like, oh, like disc golf, I don't actually really like this as much as I thought I did.
Everything's like that. You find a new game that you like, you get addicted to it, and then it runs out of its whatever. Everything's like that. But I I think for myself, listen, from the first time that I started playing disc till now, of course there's not as much passion. When you're first learning how to play disc golf, it's like the best time of your life. You're outside, there's new things, you learn something new every day. It at some point it does become a job because it is our job. Um for me,
I don't know. I love this talk. Have you ever had something like that happen to you that you were super passionate about? Say it was a career um, that you couldn't wait to go to every day, and you just hit that wall, and you just couldn't explain it to where you weren't happy going in, happy doing what you do, and it affected your life. Um, if you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Let's talk about that. Um, and then if you're watching on Twitch, we'll talk about it next time. But I'd suggest going through. I played quite a few minutes of this, talking about it, interjecting, giving my 2 cents. But check out the Foundation Podcast YouTube page. And it's the Anthroporella's Hot Start, Paul Macbeth's Course for You. Kristen Tatar has a competition. It's episode 59. If you ever have feelings like that in your life with something you're doing, check this out and just listen to the back and forth between these two guys, because I've had conversations on both sides of this. All right, and then to that end, Brody Smith did tweet out today, 3 hours ago, going to the field tomorrow for the first time since last October. Going to see if I can find a spark. So I think I saw somewhere else too. He said people were Okay, unfortunately, a lot of people misunderstood what I said on the podcast last night. Let's take a look at that. All right, this guy said, I think we understood, but I think a lot of people are disappointed. You do you, but knowing you 100% have one more year on your contract would be on tour, did nothing at all off season. Yeah, that person did not understand it. That's the thing I was saying earlier. When you're in the public eye and you're talking to people who think they can do stuff just as good or play better than you or dress better than you or whatever, you're gonna get so much negativity thrown your way. And I don't care if you say you can handle it. It doesn't bother you. You can say it doesn't, but deep down it does. I see it. I've seen it firsthand bother people that I worked with and cared about, and people can be so nasty. Heck, I had my son. He was 6, 7, 8 years old, whatever, and he has posted a video. He wanted to make a YouTube video about making a sandwich or whatever from Team Fortress 2 or whatever he did, and the person they hated on him. He hated on a little kid who just wanted to have fun and do something. He wanted to make a YouTube channel because he loved Dan TDM. It just can be downright nasty. They don't step back and think. They don't put themselves in other people's shoes, because it's not happening to them. They don't care. They're like, oh, just suck it up and move on. It's the same thing of the issue with oh gosh. I was having such a great conversation. I just forgot her name too. Here we go. I'm about to do this real quick. I apologize for having crap memory. Um, yeah, Natalie Ryan. I apologize, Natalie. But it's the same thing with Natalie Ryan. The amount of people still call her him and he. They don't make it, they don't understand what she went through, why she transitioned. People don't understand why people aren't straight. Um, People just don't understand. They don't take the time to put themselves, think about what they say, how they affect other people. So if you say it doesn't bother you, deep down, I know it bothers you. All right. Next up on my thing I want to talk about, that's just us chatting tonight. Something that hit near and dear to me, Wendy's. I don't know how much you guys heard about. I'm sure everybody has to have heard about this dynamic pricing thing that their CEO talked about the other day. And I had to tweet and saying it was the most foolhardy thing I've ever seen in my life. And this is me saying I think that person should lose their job because they're a CEO. They make millions of dollars, unlike the workers at the restaurants who they run. So, but I didn't say anything nasty. I just think he should lose his job. Kirk Tanner, the Wendy's CEO, he announced the company will invest about $20 million into digital menus at all U.S. company-operated restaurants and begin testing dynamic pricing by 2025. And this whole thing was he came up with it based on, he brought up Uber. And the whole thing with the Uber thing with dynamic pricing is there's people who they do the driving, they don't work for Uber. Excuse me. It's not company employees. It's somebody else using their own car, using their own gas, paying their own money to get their car fixed. And this dynamic pricing is when things are busier, they're getting compensated better for it because they are busier. They have to drive through more traffic. They have to put a lot more wear and tear running during the busier peaks. That's why Uber does the dynamic pricing. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but that's why it's done. But here's why I'm going to say it's bad for Wendy's. My whole thing is they're just doing it to make money for the company. The drivers for Uber, they got compensated more for the busy periods. When I did delivery, when I do delivery for say either Uber or DoorDash, I get paid more during the busy times. Will the workers at Wendy's get paid more during the busy times if there's dynamic pricing? And I would say no. That's not how companies operate. They want to do it. They wanted to do it to make the company more money. They want to make more money for the investors. It's not about the employees. Let's see. With dynamic pricing, product prices continuously adjust, sometimes in minutes, in response to real-time supply and demand. Simply put, prices for menu items like burgers, sides, and drinks will often fluctuate with the new product pricing structure. I didn't know Target and Walmart, Amazon had done that. Well, good thing I don't go to those places during busy points. That is dumb because it does not create more revenue or more money for the worker. So I just noticed some places I will not go to during busy times. Wendy's foray into dynamic pricing is a bold experiment that could help the chain be more efficient and ultimately profitable if it works. But it does run the risk of angering and losing customers since they actually have many choices, unlike the rideshare industry. That is true. You can get a cab if you need a ride. You can get an Uber, wait for a bus, or wait for somebody you know to come pick you up. With restaurants, we go to McDonald's where we know our order is going to be wrong. You can go to KFC, go to Taco Bell, and wait in long lines at Taco Bell. Or Chick-fil-A if you're into that, or anything. There's so many more options, and that would suck for Wendy's to go down because of something that they want to do because corporate greed. I'm gonna say it's corporate greed because they're making money for the investors. It never trickles. The money never trickles down to the employee, the average worker. Never. And today, coming out, Wendy's burned by CEO comment vows no price surges for burgers. I wonder if it's just burgers that are saying that, or if it's going to be drinks too. But on Wednesday, it said it has no plans to raise menu prices at times of peak demand after a burger chain was scorched on social media sites for comments the CEO made earlier this month suggesting the chain may start testing dynamic pricing. See, Tanner's comments sparked an online backlash this week, with some vowing to stack their freezer with company's signature frosty milkshakes to hoard for summer months. What? That's funny. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, in a post on social media platform Twitter, called the price gouging plain and simple. It is. Wendy's backtracked, saying in a statement to Reuters on Wednesday that it would not raise prices when our customers are visiting us most. Its initiative to add digital menu boards to certain stores will allow Wendy's to offer discounts to customers more easily. You have to be a member. You have to be a rewards member. I think that's crap. I think Kroger does the same thing. If you do online shopping at Kroger and go pick up, you get deals that you don't get when you walk in the store, which is crap. If you want online shop, that's your prerogative, and have it delivered. I don't care. That's you. You don't want to be around a lot of people. That's cool. Or are you too busy to go? That's cool. But to not offer discounts for people in the store, that's crazy. I cannot wait until there is more competition for Kroger in the greater Cincinnati area. All we have is Remke, which is a small chain, local chain. They're a little higher priced. We used to have a thing called IGA. That's gone. We used to have Thriftway. That's been gone for a long time. I think we might be getting a Publix, which hopefully that will help scare Kroger a little bit. But we have Aldi. We have like Trader Joe's, which is more expensive if you've ever been there. And we got a couple other things, but it just sucks when people have a monopoly and they do that to you. Offer discounts only for this customer, that customer. You have to be a rewards member. That's bullcrap. But I do use Wendy's rewards just because I like free stuff. That's my prerogative. Wendy's also claimed the menu boards would provide more flexibility to change the display of the featured items, saying the comments were misconstrued in media reports to raise prices during periods of high demand. We have no plans to do that, the company said. But if you go look, somebody said it is out there in the minutes for the board meeting. So if you want to go look it up, you can. I myself, in my short amount of time trying to find this, I couldn't find the minutes, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. So that's my that's the two things I really wanted to talk about today, especially with the burnout thing, because that did hit hit home for me, especially because I was away from my son a lot. What else? Yeah, just the worst part was being away from my son for everything, all the holidays. I know I did it to myself because I have that personality that when I'm working, I want to be the man that you can count on. You come to me for anything, and I'm there for you. I don't know if that's like an old-fashioned, flawed way of thinking. I equate it to, have you ever seen the movie Band of Brothers? Or not the movie, but the miniseries Band of Brothers? And how those guys are always there for each other no matter what. I have that way of thinking when I do stuff when I work. And maybe that's what led to my burnout. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I just want to talk about that stuff. I thought that, especially that burnout thing, because I could see it when I watched Brody do his practice round. He was not himself. I could from watching him do his stuff the past couple years, his energy level just wasn't what what he normally would have. You could sense passion in people as they do stuff. And I'm not saying it's I'm saying it to belittle or anything. It's happened to me. It happened really hard. But as we sit there and people comment, just know you're commenting to a person that gets a lot of negative comments. Should we just try to build each other up more than we tear each other down? And that's hard for people. It's hard to see past your own problems or your own little area in life or your own walk in life. You can't. People don't put themselves in other shoes anymore. So I don't know. I think I've been talking close to an hour, and yeah, I think that's it for tonight. I'm gonna get off of here and I play a game with the family because the family's playing games and move on. But I truly, truly appreciate you for stopping in live and watching live. If you like it, please give me a like and subscribe on YouTube. Give me a follow on Twitch. If you watch it in post or after as a VOD, thank you. I appreciate you doing that. If you like it, give me a follow on Twitch and then like and subscribe on YouTube. I am trying to build up my viewer base because I do have a passion. I do love doing this. And as you've seen from my first day to now, I am getting better, more confident in talking. I've been practicing like those tongue twisters to keep my mouth moving better because I spend so much time not talking, my mouth not moving. Like I don't know how to enunciate things properly and stuff. And so I've been practicing like the she sells seashells down by the seashore, or Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. I've been working on that, working on all that stuff, and I'd be driving around just saying that stuff back and like back and forth so quick. I dry my mouth out because I'd be so doing that the whole time. But I'm hoping you have seen an improvement on me as I go out and do this. But yeah, that's it. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay warm. Spring is right around the corner. If you're a baseball fan, it is spring training. Opening days are coming soon. The best opening day in baseball, Cincinnati Reds opening day. Opening day parade is soon at the end of March. Check it out. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day. Be safe.